Maybe I'm live. Hey, this is part 2 of a call with a psychic. Now, I want to put the disclaimer out there, and I've talked about this a lot on my show before. People have asked me what I think about psychics. What do I think, all that thing. Listen, I'm going to tell you what. Can people talk to the dead? Yes. Can people see into other dimensions? Yes. Can people try to touch and get answers in situations like this? Yes. That doesn't mean they should. It just means it's possible. Last night, if you didn't get to see it, go check out the Fireside Chat Mindy episode part 2. This is kind of our Mindy episode 2. It's a call with a psychic. I play like the first 50 minutes of that call, first 50 minutes. And I'm going to start the call back at about 45 minutes in. So if there's an overlap from part 1 to part 2, you'll get over it. What else? What else can I tell you? This psychic reading was a random encounter. In other words, it wasn't like a scheduled event where the psychic could go get a bunch of information. It was just a random encounter. It was a random walk-up thing. Other notable things, the psychic took zero money. And we are going to try to be in contact with this psychic. Vicky White is getting us her contact information. Now, this encounter, this reading was taken 10 years ago, April 20th, 2010. So a little less than 10 years ago. This is for the Mindy Lee case. This is more never before released recordings that were taken by Mindy's mom. You're not going to hear these anywhere else. Well, after this, you'll probably hear them everywhere else because people will be jacking them, but before this, you will have not heard this at all. Matter of fact, I stopped the recording last night just because I thought, man, people need to go back and dissect this. They need to catch up. And this is part 2. I'm going to start at about 45 minutes in. We probably got about a 45-minute phone call left. Or not a phone call. This is a live reading. A live reading that's happening. Again, random psychic reading with Mindy Lee's mom. This is from her personal recordings that she took over 10 years ago, just a few months after her daughter was mysteriously found dead on the football field in Woodland Park, Colorado. You can learn more about that case on Dad with the Phone Facebook, Dad with the Phone Facebook group, YouTube, but really Google it. And there's some articles that are written about it, but then go back and listen to these recordings. We've already listened to a recording with the police detectives, the chief of police of Woodland Park. Mindy Lee's mom recorded them in secret. They did not know they were being recorded, which is completely legal in the state of Colorado. And that is a very interesting phone conversation that you need to listen to. I also released last night the first part of this live encounter with a psychic. Mindy Lee had a reading. You can check it out. And then this is part 2 of that phone call. I'm starting about 45 minutes in, so there's going to be a little overlap from last night. So sit back, enjoy some Saturday morning psychic reading. I don't know. People are going to give me hell for this.
Back to the house where the driveway where they said she jumped out of. And it kept coming back to that. But then it would go back to the brown empty house and hit on that. It kept going in circles.
Right.
From this house to the vacant house.
Something happened in here.
When she was running away from them, probably. I found out now, they kept saying they didn't know anybody, and I kept saying they had to know somebody in that area.
Keep going with that.
They knew the people in the house she jumped out of the driveway.
Okay. What's going on in that house? It's significant on who lived here, what's going on. I think there was drug activity. She may have gone along the ride for some drug activity or something was going on.
It's Mike Carbello's house because I have it from the police reports. And He's a younger. I don't, and the other one's Anthony.
And I wanted to know who
Ron.
Ronnie was. Is there a Ronnie or a Ronald?
I'll write that down. A Ron. And the
You
police.
said there was an Anthony. You said.
And Anthony and Mike Corvello are on the paperwork for this house. The one where she jumped out of the driveway.
If they lease this out, who were they leasing it to?
Of what?
This house.
I don't know if it's leased.
Be a good question to ask.
If that's a leased house. And then the empty house, the new owners that bought this back in October, the brown empty house, he's flying in because nobody's lived in that house. And I sent him a copy of where the dog hit on that house 10 times. He's flying out to let my investigators and whoever else is going to be there. And if you do want to come,
It's on Monday?
It's Friday.
Oh, Friday.
It's Friday at 1 o'clock. Good Friday. And Vida from Channel 13 that's doing that investigation story, she'll be there.
Friday at 1 o'clock, you know?
Friday at 1 o'clock. Vida's going to be there. Vida.
And that's that's in Woodland Park?
Woodland Park. I live in Manitou. It's in Woodland Park. If you do, I'll call you. You can follow me.
Yeah, because
you might
I don't think I want to see, I'm getting these chills. I want to see from my eyes what I see in my mind's eye. I want to put it together.
And I'll show you the house that she was staying at, too.
You know, I want to see
where the cars and her car was parked.
This girl Kim is going to be the key to cracking this, though, is what I'm sensing. She knows so much more than she's saying. She's protecting.
And see, when the media called her, you know what she said? Did you see that on the news?
I didn't see this at all.
Oh, my God.
I can watch
the media. My daughter's face, she's beautiful. She was plastered everywhere. Her face, the news had her for 5 days on the bottom, even when the news wasn't on. Mindy Lee, mother two missing from Woodland Park, blah, 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 all that, right?
I didn't see any of this.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And
Which is probably a good thing.
when with this Lori called, this Lori from another station, she was at our house. She called Kim and she asked Kim, can you tell me what happened? How'd she jump out of the house? She goes, well, I can't right now. My boyfriend's not here. And when he gets here, what do you mean you can't?
You have to defer. The Shannon guy. I know that Shannon is probably who ended up hurting her. And I feel there's another guy. I don't think it was just the two.
No, somebody keeps saying the third guy. My husband kept saying there's another guy involved.
I want to say ex-boyfriend who's the ex. So did she have... Did Mindy know any of these people that she would have had anything to do with, and a boyfriend or somebody she dated up there or anything like that?
Not that I know of. And see, Kyle, Mindy's boyfriend, and they had their troubles because of them. Kyle would be furious every time Mindy went around Kim or Shannon because he hated them. He goes, they're no good. I know you keep telling me Kim's changing her life, and Mindy was helping her online for her college degree. Mindy was doing a lot for Kim, and Kyle kept saying, they're no good. And it's true, on Thanksgiving, Kyle and I both got mad at Mindy saying, you need to stay away from those people. They're no good. Because she had also told Kyle that she caught Kim shooting up in the bathroom. Because I think she's back doing drugs.
Yeah, she's relaxing. I saw that.
And she saw Kim shooting in the bathroom, and she told Kyle about it. And so I think Kyle, she wanted to let Kyle, and because Mindy didn't hide all, she would tell Kyle everything, and she was very open with me. And then I kept saying, Mindy, please stay away from it. And one of the very last things I said to her on Thanksgiving was, I said, Mindy, you keep saying that Kim is trying and this and that. I said, Mindy, if you go down that road, I can't stop you. You're 33 years old. But I said, you need to stay away from those people. I don't like them, and I will never like them, and they're bad news.
Well, they drugged her up to silence her. I almost feel like when the struggle was over, they got her, she was running away from them, they shot her up to sedate her.
And see, she would never do needles because my daughter had cancer.
Where was the needle found?
They said it was up here. It was on her arm, and she would never, ever.
So
She would never do needles because my daughter went through years of surgery with cancer, And she really hated, that was the worst part, getting needles
Right.
of blood. She never did needles. And I'm not saying she was an angel, but if she partied or something, it would have to be
Right,
done
in the mouth or
orally.
smoking, right.
But no, she never smoked cigarettes. I
I
smoked.
know, I was thinking smoking pot.
Oh, maybe pot. Yeah, I think Kyle said she did that like for but she wasn't a pot smoker. She
Right.
hated cigarettes, but just recently, because Kyle would say and she never did pot ever in years. Just recently, because of her depression, she was agitated. She would, because Kyle smoked pot, but that's all he did. But these people,
I don't have issues with that. I don't have issues.
Yes.
There's separate classes of drugs.
But
I
saying,
feel they used it to sedate her.
and she would never do needles. And I told the coroner that. And the lethal amount in her is
Just
8 times.
shoved a needle.
And that's what Bobby tried to tell me. He said there's 8 times the lethal amount.
They
to OD
wanted to
somebody.
shut her up, and they just shoved the needle in her, and it was like, because they knew she'd go down. You know, she'd overdose.
And I said, how could meth do that? And the coroner said what happens with meth is that your oxygen, everything, and your heart starts to beat slower because it's collapsing. This is what the coroner said. And this other lady that's like from Celebration a couple weeks ago, and don't ask me why, I've never been there in my life, I stopped in there, and this lady was pretty close to stuff. She said they actually thought Mindy was dead when they dumped her. This is what she's telling me. And that she was really comatose, but they thought she was
I
dead.
agree with that.
And she said, but she was still alive. If they would have got her help, she would have lived. This is what this lady said, but they didn't because they were afraid they're going to get dragged in, and they wanted to get away from her as far as possible. And she said something happened. It's got to do with jealousy with Kim.
Well, this was the whole thing. This is the disappointment. She's very jealous. This was I
Kim
feel
is jealous.
Kim was fighting with him, maybe over her being paranoid.
But she was always jealous, thinking Shannon was messing around on her. She'd even call Mindy, say, can you give me a ride to see if he's at this motel?
Right.
It's always about...
But they weren't doing anything. But I do know this. I do know that Kim and Shannon were fighting. I know that. And I know that she didn't want to be involved in something that was going on around them, and she's trying to get out of it. I feel that she got caught up in the middle with them, and she was probably driving around with them. I know she left her car there, but she was catching a ride with them. They were only supposed to go on a jaunt from one place to another and come back. It didn't feel like...
And then she was maybe the running away you're seeing at that other house, that circle.
Right.
Then she was running away. And then the other thing I was going to tell you, she had told Christina that owns a Manitou and motel, and where her body was found, Christina had searched that, my husband, my nephew, and on the Sunday afternoon, Mindy's body wasn't there. She was missing
Right.
from Friday, but yet they find it Wednesday the 1st,
right near
and
it.
it's there. It's there, and they were right there by the
Why
Blue
didn't
Bear.
they see it?
Yeah, why didn't they see it? Because they were right there. And Christina told me that Mindy told her that they wanted to do a threesome with Mindy a few months ago. And Mindy said she doesn't do that crap.
I'm gonna be
Okay.
I'm gonna be
Christina told me that.
I feel that's what was kind of being played up again. I didn't want to say anything
Okay.
to you because
Christina
it was
told
more
her
of a
girlfriend.
drug-induced sexual thing, and
And Christina said to me after Mindy was dead, they found her body. She said, Mindy came to me and she said, Shannon, and as jealous as Kim is, she said they wanted to, because Shannon asked Mindy to do a threesome. Mindy said no. And she said, what is wrong with her? As jealous as she is, and she's my friend, you can never be friends and do that stuff. Plus Kyle, oh my God.
Yeah.
And she told Kyle about, so after Mindy was dead.
I just didn't want to say.
Okay, Kyle told me the same thing. They did ask Mindy to do a threesome with them.
Well, that's where I think this was going. They were all getting along. Everything was going well, and then they turned like that. But I felt that they were all kind of high together. This was all
and that could be. That could be.
Why was she doing this? That was all they found was meth. They didn't find anything else in her system.
Because I took her because when she lost her job.
Any oxycodone or anything
No,
like that?
they found Oxycodone. What I have for a broken foot.
Right.
They
That's what I felt they were taking.
she only had a trace of it in her toxicology, very trace. They said so minute, but see, she was diagnosed with a brain cyst in her brain, and we took her to the hospital. Kyle and I did a few months before all this. She was so violently ill, throwing up, and if she was doing drugs, they do all the drug work up. Yeah, they did a CAT scan and they suspected it. Then they did the MRI. They found the cyst in her brain, and they were going to have to reduce it with medication, and they gave her oxycodone when she get these severe, because they had to give her medication to make her stop throwing up.
Right.
Then they gave her oxycodone when the headaches would come. And so the coroner said, and toxicologists, there was only a trace. There was a trace of Wellbutrin,
Okay, that's an antidepressant.
which was her antidepressant, because she had lost her job, couldn't find a job, single mom.
Right.
She was the support of her children. I'm the one that told her for counseling. I said, you're depressed. That's why you're gaining weight. That's why you're overeating. She was like,
right.
But junk food, because when you're broke, you don't have food, you're eating macaronis and all the garbage food. And so I said, Mindy, just go get some counseling. And she did, and they put her on Wellbutrin. So she had a trace of Wellbutrin, which
she wasn't taking it in the days that she was there either.
Maybe not. The Wellbutrin. So you see that?
It should have been more in their system and her having taken it than a trace.
And she had a trace.
Wellbutrin is a serotonin reuptake inhibitor, SSRI.
So maybe she stopped it to get high with them.
She would have stopped it maybe because she didn't have her pills.
Well, that could be.
Because you get ahead when you wean off of that, or if you forget within 12 hours, you can have severe headaches. You can have all sorts of side effects. She should have had her system up to levels. I'm wondering why she didn't have her antidepressants up to levels.
I don't know.
I mean, it's just a side.
That's just the trace?
Just something.
Okay, that's Wellbutrin, and then the oxycodone was just a trace, the coroner said, but the meth was 8 times the lethal amount.
That was to shut her up. I know that was shoved in her to just calm her down. She was upset. They calmed her down. I think they wanted to get her messed up anyways, because they wanted to probably do, my guess was a threesome. I just didn't want to say anything. Yeah. But you just want,
Yeah, no.
There's so much dignity you can have after death, I think everything was going well, and it probably would have been okay, if they got her drunk enough or
yeah, she had no alcohol in her system, so it was all
that. They got her with what they had. That would have been that, But I don't think that was. It wasn't supposed to be 8 times 11. I think they did what was left to shut her up and calm her down, to get her to stop spazzing out. I think she was running away, freaking out, and then he thought he killed her. But what I keep thinking is, I don't think the coroner doesn't have the time right, is what I'm feeling, is because of, I think but I also feel that they kept her cold. She was probably comatose, like the intuitive thought, but...
And maybe that's what I felt. She was in a coma at that time, slipping. She was slipping away, that she was over the point of no return. And she was on her death certificate. It does say hypothermia. That's the main cause.
I think they put her out there, and it is hypothermia in the sense that she couldn't go anywhere, But the timeline on that.
And Bobby said there's certain things that if she was outside, there's certain things about her body would be frostbitten, black.
Her toes weren't black.
No.
Her nose wasn't black. Her fingertips weren't black. Her earlobes were okay. She just looked like she was placed out there and kept in freezer, is what it felt like. Yeah, I wonder where they put her in the meantime.
That's why they think maybe she was in
the house.
That house. And Bobby wants to go there.
Dog.
Well, the dog kept hitting on that house.
Yeah, take the dog though, Take the dog. Can a dog go in and sniff? They're still going to be sent there.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why. And Bobby said if she was in there, her DNA would still probably be in there too.
Scent and DNA. I mean, it's a few months, but you can't cover up scent. A dog can find the scent.
If she was in the house.
You can't perfume it. You can't bleach a scent out. You can bleach out DNA.
See, and I should have probably not washed her clothes, which I've done for her
It's okay.
And 33 keeps coming up. This 33 number is just constantly coming up. My daughter was 33. That address adds up to 33 on the brown house. It's really weird when I'm packing my daughter's stuff up. Her favorite jersey,
It's 33 on it.
33, hot pink and black. It's nobody's name. It's just a jersey she wore, like with her jeans and stuff, with a hoodie on it.
Yep. Like
33.
Style or
Yeah,
Old Navy.
yeah,
Something,
33, constantly. No matter what happens around her, 33 keeps coming up.
That's a prime number, isn't it?
Just 33, 33.
Keep a dream journal. I feel she's trying to get in touch with you through your dreams.
But that's what, with the feet, that's how I call the coroner.
And I kept picking up where's the blue shoes, and you got rid of them. There was maybe. I feel they changed her clothes. I know that sounds weird.
Bobby does too. Because Bobby said the injuries to her body,
Is it?
she didn't have her clothes on when these injuries happened. Bobby told me that.
My guess is there was something going on here. They wanted to have a threesome. She said no. She started freaking out and wanted out of there. They may have gotten her drugged up enough to where she was like, ooh, yeah, But then were there 2 needle marks? That's the question.
One.
Only one.
Only one. And he said if he would have known, because the Woodland Park Police gave him nothing, the pathologists here in the Springs, they gave him nothing because they can't do their own
look under
coroner.
her toenails?
No. Or fingernails.
They didn't what?
Because they kept saying there was no foul play. All this is what happened.
There's total foul.
The Woodland Park Police and coroner from Teller County, they don't do their own autopsies. So they contracted it out down here in the Springs to have it done. When it's contracted out, they just get a sheet of paper. I just met with him last week. He said it's a tragedy. He has so many questions. This Leon Kelly, the actual coroner that did the pathology coroner, he said they gave me nothing. They stood there, they didn't give me any information. If I would have known now what you and Bobby and Vita from Channel 13 came to me, brought me all these pictures from the coroner and the police reports, he said I would have done things differently. He would have taken out the needle mark site, he would have tested it, he would have done things differently. But he said all they did was said no foul play, she was missing hypothermia. So you do things, you go by what the police said.
Right.
But now, since he met with Bobby and Steve and Vita, and now he's met with me, and he talked, and he said things don't fit. She wasn't thrown over that fence because she wouldn't be able to lay. He said, Vicki, she could have died somewhere else in this position.
Right.
And they placed her very closely, and they carried her, and they placed her. Same goes now. If you would die in my chair right now,
Right, yeah.
and I would take you in that same position, but sit you outside,
Yep.
the blood velocity would still be the same.
Right. And that's what
But and he said, so there's a lot of questions for me now.
my gut is that I'm very on the same wavelength with this. I felt it was something that she didn't want to be a part of, okay? Maybe a threesome or what they were up for. They may have been breaking in the house and wanting to party in the house, and hanging out for a little bit. I don't know. There's something going on here.
But see, this all happened at the house after she talked to me and went. So I feel at 5:45, she was reaching out to me.
Already screwed up then.
And she was reaching out to me.
Yeah, I felt the trauma was happening right around, they probably drugged her up by 4 o'clock, 4 or 5, and she was out of it. Maybe she didn't like the way she felt on the drug. And so what my gut is they needed to look under the fingernails for marks, for needle marks. Or the feet marks.
And on her feet.
They can mark you up if you're going to do drugs,
Yeah.
and you don't want anybody knowing, you do it under the toe.
Okay.
Okay, you usually do it between the toes.
See, because that's what Bobby said a couple months ago,
And that was
that
something
Mindy
that-
might have to be exhumed, and I said that's
my
okay,
gut too.
because
And
I'm
fine.
saying that was just her vehicle, that's her book cover, that's
She
not her
wants-
spirit.
she
She
wants
was
to
very
look at the
spiritual.
feet.
Yeah, that's what she
wants
kept
to
telling
look
me.
at the feet. I think there's if there's another needle mark in the feet between the toes or whatnot, I don't think they look that close,
Okay.
If there's another mark there, that means that one time she voluntarily did a hit. Another time, they did a hit too.
I would think she would do it orally. Anything.
But I don't know any druggie that isn't a real druggie that would sit there and try to put a needle in their mouth.
No, I'm not talking that way. Like drink it or.
Can you do meth?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about meth.
See, I don't
but
know.
I know that you can hit up on your toes and between your toes. You know, and you can bend down and somebody else. When people start, why I know this random fact is because I've known kids on the street and they've told me stuff like this. They'll do it in between the toes for the other person, you know? And maybe she wasn't wearing those flip-flops because it was in between the toes. And I keep asking, why do I see her wearing blue shoes and there's no blue shoes?
I'm trying to think. Blue shoes.
And it was the shoes with the blue on them, the electric blue.
But they were like a thin black strap because I bought them for her, and they had like turquoise blue stones on them,
I feel
like
that-
this, and they were in her car because I found those in her car. But they're a platform sandal like this, but daintier looking,
Right.
and this strap was thin.
Right.
And it had the blue stones on it.
I felt she took the shoes off because she put the needle there.
And then they brought in the white tennis shoes for.
The white tennis shoes aren't hers. They're the other girl's daughter, the teen daughters. It's a teen shoe.
Yeah, and the wallet, none of that's her. And the purse isn't hers. It looks nothing like her purse. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get a bunch of us together and see what everybody's going to get. When you put a group of psychics together, somebody will pick up on something different, you know? I'm getting clues. I feel there was the chase, like I said. I did think that the house is instrumental. I don't know which house I'm seeing. I'm confused as to which
But you'll
house
see
it
when
is.
you see it.
But if I see it and it's what I see, then I'll know.
Then you have Kim's house in Dubai, which is only 10
20
minutes.
minutes away, yeah.
10, 15 minutes. We did it in 10 minutes because it's exactly 8 miles from that house to the other one because we did it by mileage. So it's like 10, 15, latest. Okay. Then you have the house where they said she jumped out of the driveway, which the dogs in the reports, she's circling.
Yeah.
And then you have the house around the corner from this is the empty house looking over the high school football field with the big windows, and it's empty. And that's the man that's flying in on Friday at 1:00. He'll open that house
Sure,
up.
he wants to know what the hell is going on too, you know?
Yeah,
It's like, were they in my house? What's going on? Is there
because he just bought that house
Yeah.
and they haven't moved in it. And he said the house has not been cleaned, it has not been painted since he bought it. So, and he said he has concerns too.
You
And
can look at the land records and see who owned it.
Oh yeah, I do have it.
Okay, and then
But
you
I don't
find
know
out-
where they ended up. But I know the
just
realtor.
search. Yeah.
The realtor that handled the sale, they can find out
Yeah.
if Shannon and Kim, because they both work for moving companies, they both do cleanups. They'll tell the family member, oh, who's going to clean your house after to get it ready?
Right.
They do all this. In fact, in one of the police reports, it says before they took Mindy to the hospital, after they took her to the hospital in the police report, they said they went to go in Sunnywood to go do a job on a bid on a vacant house.
I gotta
Another
hit.
house.
I want to know the hit if there's a big sunken tub in this house.
And the one that she ran from, or the empty house.
In the empty house.
Do you know what my nephew kept telling me? They kept her cool in a bathtub.
That's what I'm thinking.
My nephew told me
I see this big oval sunken tub, and that's how I think. See, I feel that Shannon's smart enough to know that if you did place her in the snow, they would have a hard time doing time of death because it freezes.
Yeah.
You could be off for
Yeah.
hours, okay? Because you're creating a stasis where it's,
Yeah.
And then I felt that he knew enough he had to keep the body cold, and he had to keep it on something where he'd have to bleach it down. I'm wondering if wherever I'm seeing the bathroom's super clean with bleach, okay?
Because Brandon kept saying when she didn't show up anywhere after days, he kept telling before they found her body that Wednesday, and the cop that found her, that's weird too, but we'll get to that. But anyways, my nephew kept saying they could keep her cool in a bathtub in cool water because it's so cold out,
Right.
and with no
I'm telling you,
heat going in the
she had a
house.
change of clothes. I don't feel that the clothes that she's found in are the clothes that she was running in.
Do you think they put them in? And you know,
I
my
think she
husband,
changed her clothes.
my husband Kyle, when they were searching for Mindy, and my nephew, that one I just told you about, they were not supposed to be on Rampart Range Road. These people, Kim and
Right.
Shannon, and they were searching for Mindy's body.
On Rampart Range.
Guess who they ran into? And they got all surprised looking, and they took off. When they were supposed to,
Be
because
someplace else.
they were supposed to, the police called them in for an interview. I mean, if you go up there with me
Yeah.
to Sherwood Forest, you turn right on 67, go to the police department. They come all the way down 24 to where McDonald's is, go up Rampart Range, and my husband and my family are searching the grounds right where they said that she jumped, and they spotted them there, and their faces went
Ashen, like,
and they drove the other way. And Brandon said they were going to get her body.
and
This is
move it.
to move it, but we caught them. We caught them out there, and he goes, "I'm telling you, that's my nephew." He goes, "I'm telling you, that's what they kept her cool.
And I'm seeing it in an oval sunken tub.
They
And
kept her
that's what I
cool."
want to know. It's upstairs too. You know, it was an oval sunken tub. I know where I can see that part.
And they kept her cool. This is what Brandon kept telling me. And then they kept her like that. And then it was so publicized on the news. They knew that this huge search with like 300 people were going to happen that Wednesday. And they dumped her body so people would find her now
Right.
in the big search. But she wasn't there because they searched that area on Sunday. Her body wasn't there. And the cop that found her, this Goings, he's really strange. And he was rubbing my hand after we got other investigators because we think they're all crazy up there. He goes, and they tried to have us arrested. The two investigators, my husband Kyle, my nephew, me, the lady from Channel 13, we went.
They're saying you're in messing with their investigation. They were going to arrest you.
Well, we went back because there's no foul play. We went back. We were going to go where they found the body. And Vida from Channel 13 had the cameraman, and my husband. And you can see this because it's still on Channel 13 when you look it up, the video. They were trying to backstep what happened to Mindy because they don't believe something happened to Mindy. And you know what really happened was the series they're doing because they don't believe where she was found was that. So then all of a sudden all these cops show up. They're going to arrest us all for trespassing. They let us go. And then the cop that found her came up and he's rubbing my hand. He's a resource officer at the Woodland Park High School. And he goes, "I want you to know your daughter had a severe drug problem." And I'm in Jay's truck, and I said, you can just tell by finding the body that she had a severe drug problem? And he said, well, with all the drugs I found on her. I said, you found on her? I said, I have the police reports. I don't see anywhere where you turned in any drugs for evidence that you found. I see nothing. And he said, I said, that you found on her. I don't see where you turned any evidence in your police reports. And so then they found a baggie in my daughter's vagina in an autopsy, a drug dealer's baggie in her vagina. And they let me know, but the public didn't know about this when they did her autopsy. Bobby thinks they did that to throw people off, to do that. So then I wrote the chief of police just recently a letter, told him how I felt about that police officer, the school service police, what he said to me, and he's not a trained druggist. How would he make that assumption that my daughter had a severe drug problem? He didn't know her just by finding her body. Then said with all the drugs she had on her, what drugs? I don't see anything put in evidence. I just wrote him and he hasn't answered me. And then I put, unless he's the one that pulled the baggie out of her vagina. What is going on here?
What is he doing touching her vagina?
And so I'm going, well,
only the autopsy should have brought that.
And that's the only one that told me, not him. Not him. So I go, what drugs? What is he talking about? The only drugs that they said they found.
And they don't have it in her system. She's going to need to be exhumed. That's going to probably happen in May.
I'm telling you, this is crazy. And Bobby and Steve think this cop has something to do. No, Shannon Kim.
What's his name?
His name is Sean, Sean Goings. And Bobby thinks he's involved somehow, or he just wants to be a media hog and make him think he's important, saying things, or he really knows. And Bobby
think he heard the rumors about what was in the vagina.
And maybe that's what he did.
Right.
And Bobby said, I know she was placed there for one reason, because he's been a homicide detective. Yeah. The ones outside of Woodland Park, down here, for 40 years.
They should be able to tell by blood pooling.
He said the snow on Mindy's head's like they dumped it. It is this high. Right. The snow on the barrels she's next to is only 2 inches. It's not going to snow 9 inches here and 2 inches here.
Well, the other thing is that they move her, she wouldn't have any snow on her head.
But that's what he said. There's no condensation, like underneath. It's like they put her and dumped snow on.
And I feel he did that. I feel Sawyer. There's Sawyer and another brunette guy. I know there's 2 guys.
Okay. That Shannon, he also goes by Soup as his drug nickname. Okay. His real name's Shannon, Shannon, and he goes by Soup. Oh God, are all these people probably madder than hell?
Don't worry, we should stop now, but I'll tell you what we can do. We can continue this. I can work with you maybe next Friday when you're up there. My mom and I will probably make the trek if you contact us.
Yes, I will.
We'll both go.
Where's your card? I'll call you both, and I'll tell Bobby, because see, Bobby's open to this, and Steve, I will. Bobby's open because he uses psychics for his TV show.
I feel there's a third guy involved. I think this is important. I told you I saw an oval tub. I wanted to see if there's an oval tub in one of the houses. Whichever house has the oval tub in the master bedroom, a big white one, kind of like a cream ivory one. It looks like a luxury tub, you know?
Yeah, I have one in my house.
Yeah, we need to see where that tub is that I'm seeing them keep her. They kept her I actually feel they kept her in the house that was empty that nobody went to because they knew it was empty. That was the emergency place.
That's where they kept her.
You know, well, maybe that's not where it actually happened, but that's where they kept her to keep her away at first, and then they didn't know what to do. I think you're right about them. I want to know how close that house is to where they are, you know, to where they were found not supposed to be. Jay was over right by the brown empty house when they caught them on Rampart Range Road. Okay. And they were shocked and they turned the other way. I think they burned the clothes that she was wearing. She must be missing some clothes now. You know? Yeah, because she had so many. Oh gosh, she had lots of long dresses. But I thought she was wearing a skirt and a black shirt and a sweater over it, like a zipper up sweater, and she had different shoes. I feel they completely changed her. She didn't have shoes on because I don't think they wanted to tie the shoelaces. They didn't want to touch the shoes. They didn't want the shoes to put on her. Because the shoes they gave us, the tennis shoes, and the police at Loafing Jug. Mm-hmm. They can do DNA sample on the shoe to see if it's hers. To see if she ever had her foot in there. Yeah. For her skin, to see if her foot was ever inside. I don't think that's what she's wearing. I thought she was wearing the blue shoes. And see, she came to me. The blue shoes got thrown back in the car. They probably thought, oh, no big deal that they're blue shoes, but you got rid of the blue shoes. Don't worry about that. I don't think they'll cure the case or anything, but I kept seeing that she had these well, look at what I have her in. This is, I don't draw raw. Yeah. So this is like a hoodie jacket, you know, a black shirt that had a different neckline, which it felt like it was like not a scoop, but maybe like a square or something. And she had like a skirt, and she may have had leggings under that or a skirt, but there was like a flower skirt, and then she had on her like sandals that were the T sandals that went like this. And your toes go here. Yep. Oh, that's. It is. It's. Yeah, I'll bring a picture of her so you can tell her, and just it's crazy. The truth will come out. Because Mindy, the day they found her body, of course, it was all confirmed she's dead, but I already knew she was dead. And when they were all out searching the search parties, I thanked them, but I told them
you're not looking for my daughter skipping down the road. You're really looking to bring her home. I kept telling them that. I know she's gone.
You're gonna get the truth.
But she came to me that they found her December 1st. That Thursday, between Wednesday and Thursday, I said, either I'm crazy, it's a dream, she's really talking to me. She said, Mommy, look at the bottoms of my feet. And then I called the coroner and I said, if she really ran like they said, and that mountain terrain, she'd have cuts and scratches over all these logs and all you know what I'm talking about, all the stuff and twigs and branches. And the coroner said, there's nothing wrong with the bottom of the
shoes,
feet.
if she was wearing the blue shoes, she may have lost a stone over here.
She had those on because there is no marks on the bottom of her feet, none. And the coroner said, you're right, there are no marks on the bottom of her feet. And that's when I said, there's something wrong. They did something to my daughter. And that's when the cops wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah.
Bobby's and my paths just crossed crazy like, and he said we were meant to meet, and he is a retired homicide detective. Stephen Peace is a retired homicide detective from here for years and years, and plus he was a coroner here for years. Stephen Peace, he's not anymore because there's another coroner, and then now they are doing these cold cases.
Right.
And they're solving them, and they're making a TV show about them, Missing Piece.
They need to bring a dog up to go around where she was running. I feel that maybe as I keep saying the blue shoes, maybe one of the stones from the shoe fell off. I mean, I know you don't have the shoe anymore, but it'll give you an idea of where she really, or maybe it's going to be found here. I feel that the shoes had.
Yeah, because I found those in her real car, her red car. I did find them. And Bobby's going to have all the pictures with him too. So when he's there, you'll get to see the pictures. You'll get to see the location they found her. She's dressed at the shed by the water barrels. You'll get to see the house. You can even see from that house. It's a long ways. And she'd have to climb fences with barbed wire.
There was snow, so you couldn't track snow prints.
That's what they said. They carried her to that site.
They carried her there so you couldn't track where she was.
They couldn't throw her over because there's barbed wire. She couldn't climb over because there's barbed wire. Right. She would have been caught in her pants, her hands, or legs.
Well, let's take Friday. I know I need to.
Yeah, good. All right.
We've gone 1 hour and 23 seconds.
Can you be that? So let me do. Hold on, right here.
I guess it ended. Wait, did it end? Oh, yes, it did. It ended. Right as that happened, my little girl was crying straight at me. So what you just listened to for the first time ever in actual history, nobody's ever released this stuff to the public. These are private recordings that, well, yeah, they're private. They were recorded without the psychic knowing, and Mindy Lee's mother just sat on them for 10 years. We are releasing them over the next few weeks, few months. We have lots of them. During this recording, we got word from Mindy's mother that we will be in contact with this psychic, and that she said she would absolutely do a live video with us. I don't know how crazy that is, because I'm not necessarily a believer in a sense of I believe this stuff to be true. I just don't know if you should mess with it. And so when you believe it, but then you don't think you should mess with it, shoot, I might pass her off to somebody else just to get the word out. The other thing I want to say is there's a lot of content creators that will steal content from other creators. You don't have to steal this. Just take it, cut it up, chop it up, and let people hear the story. I'm not in this for anything but to get more of the word out about Mindy Lee. Maybe there's someone out there that knows something that can tell us something, and they've been sitting on it for 10 years, just like Mindy's mom has been sitting on these recordings, and they need to let their conscience be free. They need to get that guilt out of their heart. So let them speak it. All right. So share this, throw this out there. Let people know what's going on with Mindy's case. We'll talk about some more of this. Let me see. Questions. Questions that I've been asked is, where is Sean Goings? He is the security director. So there are resource officers that still work at the school, but the school has hired a full-time security director. So he went from being a resource officer to being the security director for the school district high school here in Woodland Park. So he's still very much closely tied to the school. He's just not a resource officer. They still have resource officers. If you want to follow Dad with a phone, follow me at these links. If you are so inclined to be a listener-supported podcast show, you can always give directly to my PayPal. It helps me do what I do. And then we have some great shows coming up outside of the true crime world. If you didn't hear the show we did yesterday with Robin, make sure to go back and listen to that. We have celebrity dog trainer Ryan Matthews coming on Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That'll be a live show via webcast, but he'll be on live web video with me. He's out in LA. He has an incredible story. You're not going to want to miss that. If you're a dog lover, I promise I'll get some dog tips out of him so you can train your dog better. This dude is very good at what he does. He's been doing it for a long time, back in the military days. I've known him for over 10 years. He's helped me train some of my dogs. I've worked with him on some video projects. You're not going to want to miss that one. I just booked a show for Tuesday. It'll probably be a delayed broadcast with a female R&B artist here. She's kind of on the rise. She's hitting a lot of the local scene, but then doing some stuff and some tours all around. That'll be a fun podcast as well because it's something different. It won't be crime talk or true crime, this, that, and the other, but she definitely is involved in some drama in the R&B world. So we'll talk about that. That'll be fun. Who else? I have a special, I'm going to keep it anonymous, guest coming on right now that's going to talk about a case that happened right here in Teller County. We're going to protect their identity right now for security reasons, but they're going to come live on the podcast, and we're going to talk about a case that happened right here in Teller County. You're not going to want to miss that one. That's going to blow your mind. That'll be a good one. So I got a lot of different podcasts coming out in the next week and a half, 2 weeks. We got a comic coming on. I'm trying to work out details on that show, when it'll be, but we've got a LA comic that's going to come on the show and just crack some jokes with us and have fun. And sure, whatever else. Thank you for being excited. So all right. Thanks for joining. This is part 2. If you listen to this whole podcast and you haven't heard part 1, you better go find the fireside chat from part 1. It's like an hour long plus this call, put them together. Like I said, call out to creators. Why don't you spread Mindy Lee's name? Cut this, chop this, and talk about what her mom captured over 10 years ago. Never before recorded, never before released recordings in one of the most mysterious death cases here in Teller County. A woman found frozen on the football fields in Woodland Park, Colorado. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys later.